Does this sound familiar? You try to explain how you feel about something they did or said, but by the end of the conversation, you're somehow the one who's apologizing. There's a knot in your stomach and a crushing wave of guilt as you hear yourself saying, "I'm sorry" for how they reacted to your feelings. You walk away feeling confused, exhausted, and honestly, a little bit crazy. If that hits close to home, you need to hear this. You're not losing your mind, and you're not too sensitive. This is a story about how your own kindness and empathy are being cleverly used as weapons to keep you in a state of confusion and control. It's a sophisticated psychological trap, and your best qualities, your compassion and your willingness to see the good in people, are being used as levers to make you second guess your own reality. Manipulators are experts at spotting kind, empathetic people, but they don't see your compassion as a strength, they see it as a tool, a way in. This is where they lay the kindness trap, and it usually unfolds in a few predictable stages. It often starts with love bombing. In the beginning, they shower you with affection, praise, and intense attention. It feels like you've finally met someone who truly gets you. But this isn't about a genuine connection, it's about establishing dependency and fast. They create this incredible bond so that when the manipulation starts, you're already invested and fighting to get back to that perfect beginning. And you have to understand, this behavior isn't really about you. It's about what's going on inside their own head. It's driven by a desperate need for control, a way to avoid their own feelings of shame, and a profound lack of empathy. They can understand emotions on an intellectual level, but they don't feel them the way you do. This allows them to play on your feelings without being affected by the pain they're causing. I've spent years researching these dynamics, and I've seen this exact pattern play out time and time again. Today, we're going to expose it. To really see how this works, let's follow a story. We'll call them Sarah and Tom. Sarah is empathetic and always tries to give people the benefit of the doubt. Tom is charming and at first seems incredibly attentive. It starts small. One evening, Tom makes a cutting remark about Sarah's friend, but he masks it as a joke. Sarah feels that sting of hurt and says, "Hey, that wasn't very nice." Instead of acknowledging her feelings, Tom just scoffs. "Wow, I was just joking. You're so sensitive." Instantly, Sarah feels a wave of shame. Am I too sensitive? Maybe I overreacted. She finds herself apologizing. "I'm sorry, I know you were just kidding." Right there, Tom has tested the waters. He's just taught her that if he hurts her, he can make her feel guilty for her own reaction. He has set a new rule. His intentions matter more than the actual impact on her. A few weeks later, Sarah is feeling burnt out and asks Tom if he can handle the grocery shopping. She says, "I'm feeling really drained. Would you mind taking care of it this week?" Tom agrees, but with a dramatic, heavy sigh. Later that day, he comes to her and says, "You know, it feels like you think I don't do enough around here. You're becoming really demanding." Sarah is completely flawed. That wasn't her intention at all. She was just expressing a need. But now she's on the defensive, forced to explain herself and reassure him. "No, that's not what I meant at all. I just needed a little help." The conversation is no longer about her need for help. It's about his twisted perception of her as demanding. She ends the conversation feeling ungrateful and guilty. This next stage is where the script gets flipped masterfully. Tom forgets to make a dinner reservation for their anniversary. When Sarah brings it up, obviously disappointed, he doesn't apologize. Instead, he deflects. "I've been under so much pressure at work, and you know how stressed I get. The fact that you're making this a huge deal right now is really hurting me. I can't believe you'd add to my stress like this." See what he did? He's not the one who messed up. He's now the victim of her insensitivity for being upset. And because Sarah is a kind person, her empathy immediately kicks in. She sees his supposed hurt, and her own disappointment melts away, replaced by guilt. The argument ends with her comforting him, apologizing for making him feel bad on their anniversary. He has dodged all responsibility, and she's left feeling like a terrible partner. The final turn might be the most insidious because he frames his control as an act of love. He'll say things like, "Your family is so judgmental of you, but I always take your side." Or, "I'm the only one who really understands how sensitive you are." This is a tactic of isolation. He creates a story where he is your sole protector in a world that just doesn't get you. He makes you feel special, but what he's actually doing is cutting you off from friends and family, the very people who might see his behavior for what it truly is. He's positioning himself as your only source of validation, which makes you even more dependent on him. She thinks it's love, but it's a cage. If this story feels painfully familiar, I want you to just take a deep breath. This isn't kindness, it's control. The constant confusion, the guilt, the feeling that you're always walking on eggshells, that is the intended result. It's a deliberate tactic called gaslighting, designed to make you question your own sanity so you become easier to manage. But the moment you see the pattern, you can begin to break it. Here are 4 steps to start taking back your reality. Remember that initial sting of hurt Sarah felt before the shame and guilt took over? That was the truth. Your gut reaction, that flash of anger or sadness, is your internal alarm system screaming that a boundary has been crossed. The guilt that comes after is often an injected emotion, a smokescreen designed to hide the initial harm. Acknowledge that first feeling. Hold on to it. Your body often knows something is wrong long before your mind can be talked out of it. This is the most critical and powerful step. When they hit you with, "It really hurts me that you feel that way," your instinct is to rush in and say, "I'm sorry." You have to fight that urge. Their emotional reaction is their responsibility, not yours. Instead of apologizing, try silence. Just let their statement hang in the air. Or use a neutral boundary setting phrase like, "I'm not responsible for your emotional reaction." This simple refusal to accept blame for their feelings is a massive power shift. You cannot win an argument with a gaslighter because they aren't interested in facts. They are fighting to control the narrative. So stop playing the game. Disengage from the fight and simply describe your reality without needing them to agree with it. Try phrases like, "It sounds like we remember that differently." "I trust my perception of what happened." "I understand you feel that way, but that doesn't define my experience." "I'm not going to argue with you about what I felt." These aren't aggressive. They are calm statements about your internal world, and they shut the argument down because there's nothing to debate. Saying, "You're gaslighting me," will likely just cause them to deny it and attack you. Instead, describe the behavior you're seeing. For example, "I've noticed that when I bring something up, the conversation often shifts to being about how I'm too sensitive, and the original point gets lost. Can we stick to the topic?" This focuses on the dynamic itself, which makes it much harder for them to deflect and play the victim. Your kindness is a superpower. Your empathy is a gift. But they are gifts that must be protected by boundaries. In a healthy relationship, kindness is met with appreciation, not exploitation. Empathy is met with respect, not manipulation. The person making you feel crazy isn't doing it by accident. They are using your best qualities against you to maintain control. The moment you stop feeling responsible for their feelings is the moment you reclaim your power. The moment you trust your own reality over their twisted version is the moment you start to break free. That feeling of being crazy isn't a sign of your instability. It's a symptom of their abuse. If this story resonated with you, Please share your experience in the comments. You'd be surprised how many other people have lived this exact same story, and your words could be the validation that someone else desperately needs to hear right now. For more content on reclaiming your reality and building healthy boundaries, make sure to subscribe. You are not alone, and you are not crazy.